Hey guys. So I am working on a time schedule right now because I'm waiting for my daughter to get out of school. And I wanted to do this requested video while I had the opportunity to. And I have the information needed to get out to you guys. So the magic question is, what does the Bible say about sage? Um, and so I think the reason why this video needs to, I know that there are some other videos out there, but certain people resonate with other people more easier. Some people receive from some people a little bit better with how they may explain certain things, the references that they may use, etc., etc. So this may be the 100,000th video about it, but I know that my video will reach someone that those other videos may not have reached. So this was important for me to do as well because of my history of just kind of taking in certain practices that have not been validated, that have not been explored, that we really don't know the history of, and whether or not it's of God and whether or not it's in the Bible. I see a lot of Christians that have taken on these practices as well. And although it seems very, very minute, it seems very um, harmless. And so a lot of us, we take on certain things that we see other people doing that may seem like they're positive people. Um, and we don't even realize what's attached to those practices that we pick up on. So that is the reason why I wanted to share this information with you guys today, and I won't be long, I promise. So, to get right into it, what does the Bible say? Before we say anything about that, the Bible does not specifically speak of sage. But the reason why we know that it's not something that we should be using is what I'm going to go over. Now I have my notes here, so I'm going to be some of these things I'm going to just be reading to you because I wanted to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. And I wanted to make sure that I gave the points that are important to answer this question without going around in circles and without making a valid point. Okay. So, one thing that we need to understand as Christians, if you consider yourself a Christian, is that Jesus gives us the authority to trample on serpents and to trample on scorpions through his name. He's given us the ability to cast out demons in his name. So, what purpose do we need sage? Okay. Secondly, and I did get some of this information from some of my sources that are also very knowledgeable about these things as well. One good point that was made is that the kingdom of the enemy is divided. Okay, it's divided into false light and darkness. So, pretty much, using sage is like, it's almost like using false light to cast out darkness. So, how is it possible for it to cast out itself? If you understand what that means, a kingdom divided against itself will fall. That, of course, is what is in the Bible. So, I think that is a part of the reason why a lot of this stuff needs to be discussed, because a lot of us go to church and we learn a lot of different things about how we should live as a Christian, but we don't learn a lot about the things we should not be doing, the things we should not be tapping into. And pastors, ministers should be teaching this because sage is something that is very widespread right now, that is very well vexed. A lot of people are using it. It's very popular. A lot of Christians are using it because they think that there's no harm to it. So to hear it from the pulpit, to hear it from the people that they are that they look up to on a spiritual manner, should be also expressing this information and telling the dangers of it and the reasons why it should not be used. So, a lot of us don't know that Native American shamans used sage and smudging in their ceremonies and rituals. So, why, as a Christian, do we feel that we need to pull certain practices from a shaman. If you don't know what the meaning of a shaman is, you definitely want to look that up. Shamans, basically, their practices and their beliefs are tied to the New Thought movement, which is the same as the New Age movement. So if you're a Christian, there's no way that you should be believing or taking any practices from New Age or from shamans. Do your research on shamans. Look up what a shaman actually means. And then you make your judgment from that point. But I mean, all I needed to hear was it was used in rituals. And that lets me know right there that I did not need to partake in it. All right. The Bible teaches that only God and our faith in Him can save us from the evil forces. Therefore, smudging does absolutely nothing. Using a tool that's a part of false light cannot cast out itself, which is the point I made previously. The Bible doesn't mention sage, but using it to cleanse or heal is a sin. The reason it is a sin is because God is God. We should be relying on God for anything that relates to casting out demons, cleansing, healing, any of that. Using it for smell or for fragrance in your home is a different story. Although a lot of us are not using sage to as a fragrance for our home, it doesn't even smell good. It smells like, I'm not even going to say it smells like, you know what? I would never use it to for the purpose of fragrance in my home. But if it's being used, not being used that way, and it's for, spiritual cleansing properties, then that is what is a sin. That is using an object or using something that you're idolizing for the purpose of spiritual use, spiritual properties. A Christian can't believe in negative energy, aura cleansing, saging a home, and other New Age beliefs. They are not in the Bible. It is the power of God and God Himself that can take care of these things. They have no biblical basis. Therefore, they have no use or sense for a Christian. If it's not in the Bible, why are you using it if you're a Christian? Smudging was developed for witchcraft and occult rituals. Therefore, it is a sin if done with worship and spiritual purposes. So, knowing where sage came from shamans, Native American shamans, used in rituals, which is occult. Those are occult practices, and very closely tied to divination, and that's witchcraft. Rituals is witchcraft. So it very clearly, there is several different scriptures in the Bible about witchcraft, divination, and the occult, which I will place that in the description for you to do your own research. But literally, all you have to do is Google scriptures about the occult, scriptures about divination, scriptures about witchcraft. And because it is talking against those things, and sage is being used in those things, that is why that's why it's a sin. And that's why we should not be doing it. The Bible doesn't have to specifically say sage, but sage is what is used in rituals. Sage is what is used in witchcraft. So it's very clear. And point blank, period. That's all there is left to say about it. So I wanted to do this because it was requested, and I think it's very important that it is discussed, like I said before. So if you know someone who is doing or using sage, I know a few of them who are Christians that are using sage, and don't really know the dangers behind it. Um, so, yeah, anytime that we are using something that is used in rituals, or that people that do rituals, or witchcraft or new age, there are familiar spirits and demons that come with those practices. So it's almost just as bad as tapping into going to a psychic or tapping into card reading. It's a part of the occult. Don't touch it. That's all I'm going to say. All right, guys. I will see you in my next video. Be blessed.